I just thought I'd give you an overview of what I've done so far before the light fades. So this is obviously my guttering system on the garage to take all the water away from this side of the garage, and as you can see, here's the polycarbonate roof, and I'm just giving you a quick overview of what I've done so far, just to give you a bit of a reminder. So here's the guttering system there that runs from the polycarbonate roof, and it lands on the top of the these, I think they're like a concrete type material for the garage, corrugated panels. So it lands on top of there, and then it eventually ends in this guttering system for the garage that I've set up. I'll just show you that in more detail. Runs along here, down that pipe, and ends up on the concrete. Now, I was getting pooling of water on top of the concrete and it was just staying there, so I thought we need to do something with it. So I'm going to put a small drain in there, but I can't go too deep because I do have an electrical cable around this area here, and I can't go too deep. So we're going to have a shallow, I think this is ABS or a PVC type material pipe. Got that from B&Q. They're not that expensive, only about £5 each. So I've got 2 pieces of pipe here. So what I originally was thinking of doing here is, here we have manhole cover for the sewage pipe. This is just an end one, not it doesn't join to anyone else. But it does obviously run down there and obviously meet the neighbours because they have one. So the idea I was thinking here was to potentially cut a hole in there and run PVC pipe into the manhole. So that was the idea, and my neighbour has done a similar thing. Unfortunately, my neighbour did pass away last week. Which was a bit of a shame because he was a nice guy, and you know, I just wanted to show you what I was thinking of doing. So I'll just give you an idea of how it's looking at the moment. So we need to make sure it slopes, so there is a little bit of an angle. I do need to dig it out a bit more. But I just wanted to show you what I've done in this area, and the idea is quite simple. We're going to do a French drain system here, which essentially is a pipe with aggregate stone surrounding it and some sort of geotextile fab wrapped around it to stop the soil getting into the pipe. And obviously what you can do is use a drainage pipe, twin wall, or you can use like PVC pipe and drill some holes into it, and that will allow water to enter and escape and run down here. And I think what we might do in this area here is do like a sump. Basically it's a hole in the ground that takes all the water, and then from time to time you put a sump pump in there and you pump it out. Hi guys, just a quick video here talking about drainage, and this is a small little drain that I've got to deal with the water off the guttering for both the pond roof and the garage. I thought I'd just show you more or less what type of drain little thing I've got here. It's only about 150mm long and wide and square, and obviously that's more or less how it sort of goes in like so, and then out. And it is 50mm, but it's only about probably 25mm actually, because there is a bit of a gap. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but essentially I've got a little drain here to put down there in that square I've cut out. But I want to do a video here talking about drainage. It's a big issue, and if you're building a pond with clay, it's something you need to think about. So basically, when you've got clay, it holds soil, and you need to try and get rid of it somehow. And if you've obviously got a pond built with a liner and you've gone quite deep, if you've built it in the summer, it's not a big deal. You probably won't notice it, but in the winter, you could notice your liner bubbling up if you've not got a lot of pressure pushing down. Now, when the pressure is pushing down, we call it hydrostatic pressure, and it could potentially keep the water that's underneath your liner, you know, away from your pond. But unfortunately, if you do get a lot of water and you've got a lot of clay in your soil, you could get water going up the sides of your pond and in your pond. Now, you don't know what's in the ground. It could be some really horrible chemicals that could harm your fish. So this video is all about drainage. What can we do to get rid of that water that's in the ground? Because basically having clay in the ground is like having a swimming pool underground sometimes. If you get a lot of water like I do, I've got like a factory building here that dumps a lot of water in my ground. There's not much I can do about it because that building is 100 years old. So I need to figure out a way of dealing with water. Now, you could build a purpose-built drain under your pond, but that will be hard work, and then you've still got to figure out how do you get the water from your drain under your pond to a drainage system, because it depends on how deep the drainage system is. Like my manhole here is only 2 feet deep, so I had a 4 foot deep pond. I can't get water to that. So what can you do? Well, there's a few things you can do. You can have like a sump pump, which is basically one of those industrial pumps that can pump dirty water out. So you could dig a large hole, and you could have that take the water out and send it to like a grey water drain, which is fine. But unfortunately, I can't use these pipes in terms of connecting to the manhole drain, the sewage system, because of building regulations. I'm not allowed to send rainwater into the sewage system because it, in theory, what it does is it pushes the sewage system out of whack and can potentially send nastiness into the rivers and contaminate the rivers. So that's why we're not allowed to have rainwater in general flooding the sewage system. So what you can do is have a pump system. So what you can do is you can have a sump pump system, which is basically your pipes go to a hole in the ground, takes your water. We can basically create what they call a French drain, which essentially is pipe, aggregate around it, and then some geotextile fabric material around to hold it and bind it together and keep the soil out of the system. And the sump pump is, like I said, a hole. Use industrial pump, and you basically, you know, uncoil some cabling and connect it to your grey water drain and pump it out periodically, or you can get something automated. And obviously, that's one way of dealing with you know, water that you want to get rid of. Another way is you can do the same method in terms of a French drain, as I mentioned. However, you can build that under your pond. And now this is hard to imagine and visualize, but what happens is the pressure of your pond, because it's so great, pushes the water underneath your pond through the pipe, and it can push that uphill, and then hopefully it goes down somewhere and runs, you know, to a grey water drain somewhere, or just into the soil. It can happen, and it does work. And so I just want to mention that. So that's based on hydrostatic pressure. So if you've already built your pond and you want to get rid of that groundwater somehow, what you could do is obviously dig a sump pump ditch. Dig really deep. You can get some special shovels that can dig deep. And then when you've got your channel, don't dig it too close to your pond though, because you might damage your pond when you're digging with your spade. And then, you know, if you just get a little trowel and dig out, make sure you put your liner out of the way, and dig like a little channel in between your pond and the ditch, and water will seep from underneath your pond into that ditch, and then you can put your sump pump in there and pump it out to you know, a grey water drain. So I just want to explain a little bit about drainage. So your main methods of getting rid of water is using hydrostatic pressure, where you send water from the bottom of your pond to a drain, or out of the pond down a hill or something like that using a pipe, just a simple pipe, and the pressure of your pond will do that automatically. Another way is you dig a deep hole, put a sump pump in there and use a pump, and you pull it out, you know, using power. And obviously another method would be to build a proper drain underneath your pond, connect it to a drainage system, you know, grey water drain, or if you've got a special permission from the water board, you can send that to a sewer system, but you normally have to have special permission and they normally charge you extra for that. So you might be asking, how am I going to deal with the issue regarding the water that's going to be coming off the roof? So what I've decided to do is change my mind a little bit, just to make things easier for myself. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the pipe, connect it to this small drain. This is 15 centimetre wide, so it's square, and I'll put that just underneath, as you can see, the downspout pipe there. Connect this to some ABS pipe that will run down here to a little hole, and then I'll dig it a bit deeper and I'll create a sump pump hole, and from time to time when that gets full I'll just put a pump in there to a drainage system. So I just wanted to, you know, inform you guys a little bit about drainage. It is a serious issue. You can't just send it to your sewage system. So my neighbour actually has actually managed to connect a pipe to the sewage system himself, and he did that probably 10 or 20 years ago. So I just want to say to Brian, who's recently passed away, God rest his soul and rest in peace, and I hope wherever you are you're in a better place, because it's a sad thing when someone passes away. So he will be missed, obviously. But yeah, he actually did that with his, but according to building regulations you're not allowed to send rainwater into the sewage system. The reason for that is quite simple. It floods the system and can potentially send nasty stuff into the rivers and contaminate the rivers, and we don't want that. We want to look after our rivers. So that's one of the main reasons why the big building regulation says you cannot connect rainwater to a sewage system, because it will flood it. Unfortunately, it would make it so much easier for me to just connect that up to the manhole and get rid of the water that way. And that was my original idea until I did a bit of investigations. So those of you guys have been giving me some help and advice on the Facebook groups. I just want to say a big thank you, and thank you for giving me your advice and your tips. I just wanted to share your advice with everyone else on this YouTube channel. So what am I going to do? So we're going to have this square drain. I'm going to connect it there where the downpipe is, where all the water from the roof of the pond, as well as the majority of this side of the garage, will fall into some pipes here, coming along into like a sump pump, hole in the ground, and when it gets full I'll just get a sump pump or a regular pump, whatever I've got, and some hose, and connect it to a grey water drain. That's what you're supposed to do. So I just wanted to try and give you a bit of information regarding drainage. It can be a serious issue. So, you know, I'll just give you a brief look at the pond and the guttering system, and we'll call it a day. I've got all day tomorrow to dedicate to getting this finished, and I'll show you that tomorrow when I've got the majority of that finished. But thank you for watching, and I'll just show you where we're at the moment. So here's the drain. I was going to originally drill a hole in there and put my ABS pipe through, but that's a no-go. So I've been digging a little hole here, and I'm thinking we'll make this a bit deeper, and this will be our sump pump hole. So I've dug a channel out for our French drain that goes all the way along here. Here is the square for our drain. That's our downpipe and our guttering system. As you can see over here, we've got our polycarbonate roof for the pond, but I'll just show you the inside of the pond as well, just so you get an idea what it looks like in terms of the size with all that water out. Obviously that's how it looks up here in terms of the drainage system. The guttering system relatively quite dry actually. And contrary to the belief that some comments were made that this is a asbestos garage roof, it's not. It's a fairly new roof, it's just like concrete panels, nothing nasty in that regard. So I just wanted to show you in daylight before the light fades the pond structure, and hopefully we'll be able to get this finished this weekend. Thought I'd show you how the small pond's doing. So we've got a ton of algae and I'm going to have to sort this out. So any suggestions about dealing with algae, please let me know in the comments. I would appreciate any advice. Right guys, just want to say thank you for coming to watch the video. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope you find these videos informative. Keep tuned, I'm going to be coming up with a new video tomorrow with the drainage system complete and finished. I just wanted to show you the importance of drainage. It's really important. Something I didn't know about. It took me a lot of time to research this, and I've got a lot of help from a lot of people as well, so I want to say a big thank you to everyone who have contributed and given me advice. It's very much valued, because I don't want to make a mistake that could get me into trouble. So it's always a good idea to research things before you think about doing it. So hope you take away at least that lesson from this video, and I'll see you in the next one, and I hope to see you. Have a good weekend, and hopefully we'll get some nice sun and enjoy your pond building, guys. Okay, bye bye.